Hi guys, Dashed AI was designed to leverage webhooks by all iPaaS solutions like Zapier, Integrantly, and all the other ones on the market. By using these solutions, you can put all your LinkedIn replies and information in one place to keep track of your prospecting. I would recommend you set up a CRM, and I have a video on how to do that on my channel, as well as how to connect it to Dashed AI. But if you don't want to go to the effort and want a simple solution to keep track of everything, then I would recommend following the steps on this video. There is a link in the description below of a Google Sheet. Download it and add it to your drive. This will be the first step of getting set up. I designed this Google Sheet to contain all the actionable replies that you would get from LinkedIn. Meeting booked, warm leads, not now, and not interested. Something like this, with those headings along the bottom. You only need to follow these steps once, and when you have this sheet set up, it will constantly update with all the information like this so that you have it all in one place from all the different people that reply to you. Now you may be thinking, why do you want to set this up? Well, let's presume you've been running Dashed AI for a month and want to see the total of all the different leads you have generated on LinkedIn. You can get the stats and data on the dashboard, but you can also go to this Google Sheet where there'll be a log like this with all the different people and messages. Now, maybe you'll want to see the titles of all the people that are not interested in what you're having to sell. And then you can remove these titles from further prospecting, meaning you'll be able to maximize the amount of invites you can send on LinkedIn that will actually deliver results. This is just one example, and I'll be releasing a video on the analysis side of using Dashed AI. Obviously, the most important reason is just to have a log of everything. Maybe you want to follow up with someone or you forget to follow up with someone. It will all be here, so you'll be able to be reminded. Okay, so here is the Zap that's going to allow you to add this information. Now, I want you to follow the following steps. I've already built it, so I can walk you through it. So I'm going to try and go as slow as I can. And then hopefully, whatever tool you're using, whether that's Integrantly or whichever iPaaS solution, it may look different, but the trigger actions will be called the same. So the first thing I want you to do is I want you to create a Zap or create a connector with your software. Now I'm going to go to edit, so it would be as if I'm setting it up from scratch. So in Zapier's case, they call them webhooks or premium. In other softwares, they have their own specific name for them, but it's essentially where you can get a link to send a packet of information to. It's usually a premium sort of version, a premium solution, because we just need this link, which if you press here and go to catch hook, which is essentially catch the data that Dashed AI will send to Zapier or send to your iPaaS solution. You don't want to do a raw hook, which is often an option. That's just like a lot of data. If you just do catch hook or the simple version of this, it will be more than enough to get this done. You then want to go to continue. You want to ignore pick off a child key, which with other solutions is essentially just only take one bit of information from what we're sending. You want to get all the information, so just skip this. And then essentially you'll be given a URL that looks something like this, sometimes with the name of your iPaaS solution or the name of your account potentially. You then want to copy this and you want to head to your Dashed AI account, head to your settings, and then to your webhooks. And then you want to copy and paste this link into meeting setup. You're going to want to hit save first, and hopefully it will update up here. And then the next thing you want to do is press test webhook. Awesome. So once you've done that and you've seen the notifications pop up, then I want you to head back to your iPaaS solution. And then I want you to go to test. And when you test it, you're going to see data like this. You're going to see a bunch of fields with some fake test data, which is going to be my name, the company name, my link, etc., which you're going to use to map to the Google Sheet. So for example, just to give you a quick overview, if you've never made one of these before, the first name of the person that's replied to you on LinkedIn. In this case of the test webhook, it's fake data and we've put my name. But if you go to your CRM, the first name tab will be the one that you want that information to go under. And that's just called mapping the fields, which we're going to do in the next step. So once you've tested it and you've got some fake data inside the webhook or the connector, you're going to want to go to continue and then connect Google Sheets. So as I said, all iPaaS solutions will look slightly different, but you want to search for Google Sheets, essentially find Google Sheets, connect it to your account, and the event and the trigger in this case that you want to fill out is create spreadsheet row. So I want you to go ahead and find that and click that. Then go to continue. Typically, it will ask you to connect your Google Sheet account where you should have saved the Google Sheet I asked you to download at the start. You should just go through and connect it. Go continue. So you want to connect your Google Drive to this connector or Zap in my case. Once you connect the Drive account, they'll ask you to connect a specific spreadsheet. Now I've named it CRM for LinkedIn. You can go ahead and rename that if you want, but it will show you a list of all your spreadsheets and you just want to pick the one that is you named it as, or if you haven't changed the name, it will be CRM for LinkedIn. So once you've clicked that, you want to pick the worksheet. Now, as I mentioned before, we have several tabs down here, which are all different worksheets, which are all going to hold different leads as the AI categorizes them. So the first one I'm going to want you to do is meeting booked. Hence why I asked you to put that URL in the meeting booked one. So you want to head back. You want to find the one called meeting booked. You want to click it. And then you want to start mapping the fields. Now, if you've never done this would be kind of complicated, but I'll just walk you through it. So it's going to take automatically the header or the name of the column as we have it on the Google Sheet. In this case, first name. So as you can see, it says first name. Now, what I want you to do is on the test data, you're going to have a field called first name. So what I want you to do is essentially just click that field that you've pulled in from the webhook and from the data that Dashed AI sent you, the test data, and map it. So this means everyone who answers you on LinkedIn will take their first name and will send it directly to the spreadsheet with their first name in this column. It's literally that simple. And then I want you to follow the same theory for all the following column headers. So second name, you go show all of them and you find the second name, which in my case is Rose. You want to do the same for title, company name, message, channel ID, and LinkedIn URL. We do the LinkedIn URL because it's super easy to then click on that person's LinkedIn and follow up message them. Now, once you've filled out and mapped all the fields, you go to continue, and this is where you want to test it. So most, if not all of the tools will allow you to test it before you publish the connector. So what I want you guys to do is press the test button. In my case, it'll be retest. And this is a really important part. Before you do anything, I want you to head back to the Google Sheet that you should have open and see if any data has been added. In this case, you can see a second row was added with the same data. So that means it's working correctly. So you can go ahead and publish it. Now, I haven't made any changes to mine, so you can just save, drop, in my case, save, drop, and exit. In your case, you need to publish it to make sure it's on and working. So now we've essentially connected anyone who messages you here or in Sales Navigator. We've picked it up in Dashed AI, and now we've connected it to the Google Sheet through a webhook. It's really that simple to do. Once you've set this up once, you don't have to do it again. It will be permanently on, connecting this information and adding it here. Now, that's for people who want to have a meeting booked. Now, you want to add information of people who have more information requests, for example, or, for example, have a specific question for you. You want to add these people to warm leads. So what I want you to do is head out of your Zap that you just created, find it, and then essentially duplicate it. Once you've duplicated it, Let's find the duplicate. I have quite a few dApps, so the duplicate's here. I want you to open it up. And essentially, because this is a duplicate, you want to change the name to warm leads. And then I want you to find the new link, which is associated with this connector and this Zap in my case, or whichever iPaaS solution. Find the new link and then copy it into more information requests, save it and test it. A question, save it. You don't need to test it. You only need to test and send one packet of information to map the fields. You don't need to send multiple because they're going to be all the same test data. And forwarded referred. And save those webhooks. Once you've done that, I want you to head back to the Zap that you just duplicated and renamed, and literally go through to the point of setting up the action where the worksheet. Now this is key, because if you don't change this from meeting booked, it's going to add all the people the AI categorizes in these categories to the tab of meeting booked, which is not what you want. So you want to find the tab which is warm leads, so it gets added to this page and not the other ones. So essentially, you just want to go to worksheet, and then you want to find the one that's called warm leads. Click on it, and that's all you have to change. Literally continue, test and continue, so that will send one test. So now if we've set that up correctly, you'll see it appear here in the warm lead spreadsheet. And then essentially, you want to go back to your Zap and turn it on. You want to publish it, turn it on, and then essentially do the same thing again. You want to go ahead and duplicate it, add the not interested people to the not interested worksheet, and then duplicate it again and do it for the not now worksheet, which is the headers down here. Once you've done that, you've essentially connected Dashed AI to a Google Sheet, so you have a log of everything. You really don't have to ever do this again. I reckon if you've never made one, it will take you about half an hour to set this all up. If you've made a few connectors before, then it should only take you about 15 minutes to get it all set up and done. And then you can essentially start tracking and integrating all of your LinkedIn prospecting.